And if you hesitate because of fear and doubt and uncertainty, you close the door to your experiences. You close the door on your life. You're listening to Say It Anyway, the podcast for people who know they're meant for more and are done holding back. I'm Maggie Marcus, and here we talk courage, self-trust, and what it takes to lead yourself, even when it scares the hell out of you. You ever hesitated for like a moment, for a second, and then somebody else swoops in and takes the opportunity that you were going to take, says the thing that you were going to say, expresses an idea, moves the conversation in a different direction, puts their hands up, takes the opportunity that you wanted, and then you're left thinking like, ugh, what the heck? Like, I knew what I wanted to say. I knew I wanted to go for it. Yeah, I froze in that moment. Why did I hesitate? Like, I know I want to be the person that steps up, that says the thing. So why didn't I just go for it? Why do I keep holding back when deep down I know what I want or what I want to say? Why do I freeze even though I want to step up? And I know that is so frustrating because it's not even about the person who swoops in. Like, it's not about I'm not talking about competition or you got to go faster than anyone else. It's not about that. It's more about that moment where you hesitate and you let doubt and fear take over and hold you back. It's about what muscle that you're flexing and who you're training yourself to be. Because in that moment, there's the choice to freeze and hold back and not say the thing or do the thing. Or there's the muscle of courage that you can train to go for it, to say the thing, to lean into the discomfort, to take the chance, to let your ideas be seen and heard, to let yourself be seen and felt, to get the opportunity to get the promotion, to steer the conversation, whatever it is. But then when you hesitate, the moment's gone. And I know that that's so frustrating. It literally happened to me yesterday. I'm in a mastermind with like 30 other women, and the coach was like, "Hey, whoever drops an emoji in the chat first, I'll work with them right now." And I literally had the emoji thing open, and my mouse was hovering over it, and in a split second, I was about to do it, and something in me held back, paused. And I thought, wait, I don't know what we're going to work on. Like, I don't know what she wants to volunteer for. Like, what does she want to, what if what I have isn't good enough? We're going to share in front of everyone else. And something took over in me and I started doubting myself. And I let the uncertainty and the fear pause me. And in that moment, 10 other people, boom, 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 emojis started pouring into the chat. And the first person who dropped that emoji, the one who didn't hesitate, who put the emoji in, I think, before the coach even finished her sentence, which is what I was going to do, which was literally what I was going to do because I knew that that's what it was going to take. But she was the one that benefited. She was the one that got the coaching. She was the one that got the opportunity to grow, to build momentum, to get feedback and support. And again, no shade on her. That's awesome. But it's not about the other person. That was a moment for me in my awareness to notice where I hesitated, where I froze, where I let fear win, where I trained the doubt muscle. I strengthened that muscle instead of my courage muscle. And that was a pattern that I've noticed. And I know it because I've witnessed it so many times. It's why courage is one of my top values, is because I know that when I act courageously, when I take risks, when I risk image and ego and I set that down in favor of moments like those where I can grow and potentially look silly or be judged or whatever, when I set that down, those are the moments that have really propelled me upwards. And it just reminded me how often we hesitate in moments where courage is required, and we lose those moments. And it's not just in business, it's in personal relationships. It's in, when there's something that there's a moment where you could say something, where you could express vulnerability, where you could share your opinion with someone that you love, where you can express yourself, and instead you hold back. Like there's a moment where you could have cracked something open between you guys and built connection, but you held back. There's a moment where you could have apologized maybe, and you let your ego win. You held back. Even though deep down you wanted to say the thing, but something in you stopped you. Or when you see someone out in public that, you think is cute and you hesitate, instead of asking them out, you shrink down and you never see that person again. And I think it's moments like that where, if we actually stepped into courage, like those decisions can really shape our life. You don't know what it opens you up to. That person that you chose not to ask out in the coffee shop could have been someone you had a really beautiful relationship with. Or the girl you thought was really cool sitting there in the corner, like you loved her outfit, her whole vibe. Like maybe you could have introduced yourself and started a really amazing friendship. Like these are the moments where there's something in you that has this urge, this desire, this impulse, and we stifle it. What I've come to realize is opportunity rarely waits for certainty. It doesn't wait for you to know that everything's going to be okay, that what's going to happen. It doesn't wait for you to be confident and ready. Like opportunity comes a knocking and you're going to take it or you're not, and it's going to pass you by. I hear that phrase all the time, that what comes for you won't miss you, something like that. Or what's meant for you won't miss you. But that's, it will. It will, because if you don't see it for what it is and be willing to lean into the discomfort of uncertainty and the discomfort of potential failure or rejection or misunderstanding, it will miss you. It will pass you by, and someone else will come along and snatch it up. Like, what are we waiting for in those moments? Like, really ask yourself, what kind of certainty are you waiting for? Like, in that moment, in the coaching opportunity, I was waiting because I wanted to know what we were going to talk about. But what if I didn't need to know? What if in just jumping in, I trusted myself that whatever was going to come up and out was going to be perfect for me and for the group? How often in life do you wait to feel ready before you move? How often do you sit there preparing and researching and studying when maybe the real learning is going to be in the actual experience? I spent so many years preparing. And when I finally decided to take action, I learned infinitely more in a smaller period of time than I had in years preparing. We learn through the action. Clarity comes through action. There's a saying I love, build the plane while you fly it. You just got to move and you figure it out along the way. Because really, when you think about it and you think back on your life, what do you think opportunities truly reward? Certainty or courage? How often have you truly 100% felt certain about something before the opportunity came for you? This just doesn't work like that. We must be willing to fall into it, to trust, to surrender. And I want to hit back on that point of trust, because that's really what it comes down to, is that can we surrender into the uncertainty and the unknowing? And as we do that, trust that even though we don't know what it's going to look like or what's going to happen, that we're going to be okay. Because we've got our back. We can trust that we're smart enough, that we're resourceful enough, resilient enough to navigate whatever comes up. And truly, growth is most often reserved for the people who go first, who move first, not the ones who feel the most prepared. When you just move, you will fail faster. And in failing faster, you will learn faster, right? You open yourselves up to knowledge, to perspective, to figuring it out. When I started this podcast, I said, I'm going to start a podcast. And the next day I filmed the first episode, and I was doing it on Zoom, which is terrible quality. And I filmed a whole bunch of episodes on Zoom until I started talking to other people, letting them know I was doing a podcast. And then I learned about another platform where I could film from. And I've filmed a couple episodes on Riverside, but then the quality wasn't that good on there either. And then I figured out, hey, I could just film from my awesome iPhone. And now I have way better quality videos. But had I just sat there trying to prepare and figure out the best modality to film my episodes on, I wouldn't have gotten here as quick as I did. It's just being willing to look bad, to make mistakes, to fail, and to adjust. That's just what the most successful people do. They go, they create, they get feedback, they adjust. They do it again, more feedback, and they adjust. I'm laughing because I remember I was driving home from the gym the other day, and I remember I had started going to a new gym, and I was like, I wonder what the fastest way home is going to be for me. And I was like, do I take a right when I leave the gym and I go this way, or do I take a left? And I was going right for the first few times, and I was like, okay, it's okay. I can get home in a decent amount of time, but I wonder if I take a left. And so I take a left, and I finally figured out the most efficient way for me to get home from the gym, which had me avoid the least amount of lights and all this stuff, right? And I was thinking to myself, if I had just sat there, looking at the map, trying to figure it out and prepare for my drive home, I would have never figured it out. I just had to do it. I just had to go. I took a couple turns, here. Even when I went left that one time, I took different routes within that. And I finally figured out the one that gets me home the fastest. And that's a small example, but that's where you learn to flex in small moments your trust muscle, your courage muscle, and your willingness to just take chances and figure it out as you go. That's what you really gain when you step into something before you're ready. Confidence, knowledge, perspective. And you start to cultivate the identity of someone who is resilient, who can handle challenges, handle the unknown, who can trust themselves to navigate that terrain, to cultivate an identity of someone who takes risks. Because as we all know, taking risks, intelligent risks is what moves you and builds momentum and gets you to where you want to be in your life. Taking calculated risks allows you to learn, to grow, to build, create. Think about an artist. They don't often know what their painting is going to look like at the end, and they just trust that process, and in the end create something maybe very beautiful. And you are the artist of your own life. You've got the paintbrush in your hand, and if you sit there with a blank canvas, staring, trying to imagine in your head what the outcome is going to look like, you'll never know what you're actually capable of creating. Because also with the preparedness comes the desire to control. And then you've got a very rigid idea of where things, a very narrow idea of how things will turn out. But if you just put your paintbrush on the canvas and start drawing and start kind of seeing where things are going, what lines intersect with other lines, what colors mix in, then by the end, you've created something that maybe you never even imagined. And that's same for life, But that hesitation, it really does cost us, It's not always like dramatic, but it can be very subtle, like those moments that we didn't step into, rooms we didn't speak in, chances we didn't take. A lot of times that can really shape the direction of our life without us even realizing it. Because maybe in those rooms where you were afraid to speak up, maybe there was someone else in that room that needed to hear what you had to say, or really loved how you expressed yourself. And now they want to network with you. Now they want to introduce you to someone else. Now they want to work with you. And so when we allow ourselves to take those chances, it can really lead us somewhere and really open a lot of doors for us. And that hesitation closes those doors. You can't see what's behind closed doors. You don't know what you miss out on. Those tiny moments can really determine what you get to experience and how you grow. And that's huge. Like, really think about that for a second. That those tiny micro moments determine what you get to experience in life. Isn't that what life's all about? To experience things, to feel, to go through things. Like, what we're really saying is that hesitation limits your experiences. And I don't know about you, but I want to freaking experience everything. I want to be, the person that's open and is available for experiences. And if you hesitate because of fear and doubt and, uncertainty, you close the door to your experiences. You close the door on your life. So if I want the life that I say I want, what kind of reflex do I need to build in moments like that? Which muscle am I training? Because when we train courage in those small moments, it prepares us for the bigger ones. And that right there, like in those micro moments where we that's where you really start to cultivate a certain kind of identity and self-concept. Self-concept is the way that you see yourself, and the way you see yourself is built on the beliefs that you have about yourself. So in those micro moments where you start to collect evidence that I am someone who takes risks, I am someone who puts themselves out there, I'm someone who acts before having certainty, I'm someone who takes leaps. You start to cultivate that identity, that's just the kind of person that I am. And when you do that in small moments, then when it comes time for the bigger opportunities and the bigger leaps and the bigger chances to be seen and the bigger rooms, you will act in accordance with the belief that you have about yourself. Because now maybe the size of the opportunity has changed, but you still have the belief that that's who I am. And if you believe that's who you am, and you've trained that muscle and you have evidence of that, then you are more likely in that opportunity to go for it. And then what possibilities open up for you then? Now maybe you get to step on the stage. Now you get to make the bigger ask. Now you maybe get to expand your network. Now you get to be in rooms with people that you've always admired. Now you get to take these cool ass trips. Now maybe your finances blow up, your sales blow up. All because you took a chance, trusted yourself, and went for it. Because you trained your yes muscle, not your no muscle. The no, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. What am I going to say? What are they going to think? No. Safer to just sit here. Safer to hold back. Safer to observe everyone else. Let them go first. No. You train your yes muscle, the do it muscle. You train yourself to be open to life, open to stepping through those doors. Because those are the opportunities and the decisions that change your life. They often happen in those moments of uncertainty, moments where you don't know if you're ready. You don't know if you're going to look stupid. You don't know if it's going to go well. And if you wait until you feel certain, you will miss the moment. Because those moments reward courage, not certainty. Maybe they're just like tiny decisions, but in hindsight, they reveal something much bigger. The kind of person you're training yourself to be when opportunity shows up. So who are you training yourself to be? Because the difference between the life you want and the life you're living often comes down to a few seconds of courage. Where instead of saying wait, we say yes anyway. Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, spread the love. Maybe share it with a friend or drop a comment. I'd love to know what landed for you. And remember, your voice matters. Whatever you're holding back, say it anyway.